neuroparasites, a life form last encountered by the crew of the Enterprise at Deneva Colony. Those possessed by the creatures tend to engage in hostilities with the uninfected, the better to render them fit for infestation.
Yeah, Spaghetti's here. Hey, Spaghetti. It's going good, thanks. Hey, look who else is there. Icebound. Or at least he was. A minute ago. 2 minutes ago. Welcome, guys. And girls. And gender neutral specifics. Anyways, welcome. We're doing Star Trek Online. We're in the 23rd century. That is the same era as the Jim Kirk Enterprise, and we're investigating a space station that's gone silent. And we found one person so far, and that's a medical officer on the station, and she's concerned that we're infected. And the parasite that she's referring to is a kind of pancake looking thing that will attach itself to your back. Kind of like if you watch Futurama, you know how brain slugs would latch onto your brain? Well, these things would latch onto your back. And if you remember, Spock got infected by one. And they would make people go crazy. He didn't go crazy because he's a Vulcan. He used his mental discipline to override what the parasite was trying to tell him, but it still wouldn't let go. So, neuroparasites, Lieutenant. Life form last encountered by the Enterprise at Deneva Colony. Yeah. Well, you can see we're friendly, Ensign.
To Met, and while you have not engaged in hostilities thus far, I have seen infected employ false passivity in order to lure unwary prey. A tricorder scan of your adrenaline levels should verify your status.
A logical precaution, Ensign. Scan away.
Scans show a slightly elevated level of adrenaline, though nowhere near that of an infected life form. Thank you for your patience. One can never be too cautious where these parasites are concerned.
Tell me more about them. Want to know what we're dealing with?
They are a life form that propagates by infiltrating the nervous system of a host creature. Through this neural link, they can compel their host to obey their bidding. They can also inflict extreme pain upon the host at will, and do so to discourage attempts at resistance. While effective, this punishment can lead to permanent neurological damage or death. At this time, most of the station personnel have become infected. While there is a possibility of uninfected survivors, I must warn that it is remote.
I see. Any recommendations, Ensign?
According to Starfleet data files, the parasites can be safely destroyed by exposure to high-intensity ultraviolet light. My attempts at reconfiguring the station's lighting thus far have been unsuccessful. I am a physician, not a habitat engineer.
I see.
As a precaution, I have developed a serum that can render a person toxic to the creatures. However, medical supplies here are limited. I have enough serum to inoculate your landing party and one other person.
I'll take any age I can get. In the meantime, let's see if we can find anyone else via the comm system. Trying to do a Shatner dramatic reading. Fail. Alright. So, use the comm system. K13 internal communications system static. This is Lieutenant Bear of the USS Ursa. Is anyone on the station able to respond?
Now there's a voice I wasn't expecting. I take it you heard my distress call then. Well, in case you haven't noticed, the station's been overrun by neuroparasites. The wee devils are back with a vengeance.
So I see. Good to see you again, Commander Scott. Sir, we're up here in sick bay. Can you join us here? This is a man on the wing. There is a man on the wing. Oh yeah. From the Twilight Zone, Shatner, when he was on the Twilight Zone, he was a Korean veteran fighter pilot, and it was Gremlins. Gremlins, yes, I remember that episode well. He was terrified, and his antics forced an emergency landing because they thought he was going mad. And oh man, it was great. And as Rod Serling was narrating the epilogue, they panned the camera over towards the wing of the aircraft, and you can see that the engine had some of its guts ripped out. So if they hadn't landed, they would have crashed eventually. So whether he actually saw something on the wing is another matter. The fact being that if they hadn't landed, if he hadn't gone a little nutso, the plane would have crashed. So I see we're up in sickbay, Commander Scott. Can you join us here, sir?
I'm afraid not. I'm in the auxiliary control room down on the engineering deck. The place is filthy with parasites, so you'll understand if I don't go out for a wee jaunt.
Understood, Scotty. We'll make our way to you. Bear out.
I have secured a small amount of security gear. It may give you another edge against the parasites.
Excellent, Ensign. You're with us. Let's gear up and head to engineering. Now we'll go to our inventory. We'll put some armor on. What? Oh, that's for a kit. There's the armor. Alright, let's see if it's better than what we have or not. Mark 2, Mark 1. Disruptor damage resistance. All energy damage resistance. Alright, so let's see. I think what I'm wearing is a little better. But I can give it to my crew. I like to check the DPS against what I'm currently using, and what I'm currently using is better. Alright. So, this will be for my bridge crew. Or landing party in this case. Okay. 58, 61, 60, 61, okay. Alright, let's look at Scarvin. He didn't have any armor. So we'll give it to him. What does he have? 60.3, what's this? 60.7, 58.5. Alright, so we'll give him this one. Excuse me. There we go. Yep, alright. So the phaser I gave him is a little better than he had. And I got tribbles. Here, you take a dribble. And you take a dribble. The Trouble with Tribbles. Remember that episode? Oh yeah, that was a fantastic episode of the Twilight Zone. All right, so here we go. Oh, and the screen is all grainy, just like from watching television with a vacuum tube up close. All kinds of dots, making my eyes water just like the real thing.
We may be able to gain useful knowledge by scanning one of the infected.
All right. Now, what you could do? Well,
I
you're
should consider taking some scans from the infected. While I have committed Dr. McCoy's data on the parasites to memory, we may be able to learn something useful from a more in-depth medical analysis.
good thinking, Ensign. So, he's medical. You can tell he's wearing short sleeves. Oh, another Vulcan. I guess his mental discipline wasn't quite up to par. Oh, there's one right there. See, he's got a parasite on the back. Looks like a meaty, looks like a pizza. He has a pizza on his back. Oh, yeah. Up past bedtime watching the Twilight Zone. So, like here, you got number keys 1, 2, and 3. This is the primary shot beam setting. This is the secondary one. In this case, it's a wide beam setting. And here you have a melee attack. So, when you're up close, what you don't want to do is crouch, because if they attack you with melee, they get an increased bonus to attack and damage in that situation. However, if it's just ranged attack, you want to crouch because it makes you a harder to hit target and you get a bonus to accuracy. Okay, so let's scan the infected.
The creatures continue to be resistant to tricorder scans, sir. It may be fascinating. I'm detecting an unusually high level of tachyons nearby. Based on these readings, it is possible that a temporal event has occurred on the station within the last 4.2 hours.
Fascinating indeed. Let's keep going. Phasers are set to stun, remember?